Thank you for purchasing this CD from the Sound Preservation Association of Tasmania. And now, some background about this recording. The Bush Inn at New Norfolk, 30 kilometres west of Hobart, is reputed to be Tasmania's oldest licensed hotel. The two large records in the case above the fireplace have quite a history. These 16-inch radio transcriptions are the 1946 recording of the opera Maritana in 3 acts, with text by Edward Fitzball, the music by William Vincent Wallace. The opera is founded upon the romance of Don Cesar de Bezan and is based in Madrid, where the King, Charles II of Spain, takes a liking to the street singer Maritana. This opera was first produced at Drury Lane in London on November the 15th, 1845. William Wallace was born in Waterford, Ireland in 1812, the eldest son of the Irish band sergeant of the 29th Regiment. At 8, he composed marches for his father's band. At 16, he was the first violin in the Theatre Royal Orchestra in Dublin, and at 18 was the organist of the Thurles Roman Catholic Cathedral. In Dublin, as sub-leader of the orchestra, he heard Paganini and practised till he also became a virtuoso. In November 1835, he immigrated to Hobart Town with his wife Isabella and infant son. Following a brief stay, he went to Sydney, where he opened the first Australian music school. He gave many recitals in Sydney and Parramatta and became known as Australia's Paganini. Then followed many tours of the United States, where he helped to establish the New York Philharmonic Society, returning to Europe for more recitals. He died in 1865 at Château d'Agé, near Vieux-Ours, Hautes-Pyrénées. The songs from Maritana are There is a Flower That Bloometh, In Happy Moments, May Mother Guide His Footsteps, Yes, Let Me Fall Like a Soldier, 'Tis the Harp in the Air, and Scenes That Are Brightest, which is reputed to have been inspired by a stay at the Bush Inn by the Wallace family. History was again made at the Bush Inn Hotel in 1932, when Australian Broadcasting Company did a live broadcast of Maritana. This was on June 29th, and the live broadcast created much interest in Australia. Many people think that the records on display were of this broadcast. However, this is not so. The two records were made by radio station 3DB, the Sun Herald commercial radio station in Melbourne, in 1946, from a series called Opera for the People, a series of broadcasts heard weekly around Australia. It is interesting to note that the announcer on these recordings is the late Sir Eric Pearce, a well-known Melbourne newsreader on the GTV9 telly network. So now sit back and enjoy the opera by William Vincent Wallace, Maritana, produced by the Sound Preservation Association of Tasmania.
Opera for the People. World's greatest operas, especially adapted in English for radio presentation. An all-star Australian cast of singers, choristers and actors, with the Australian Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Hector Crawford, give you Opera for the People. We present Wallace's much-loved opera, Maritana. The action of the opera takes place in Madrid, where we find a slender gypsy girl, Maritana, singing in the streets. The crowd of soldiers, gypsies, and townspeople are unaware that among them is the King of Spain. He has fallen in love with the beautiful singer. With the king is the unscrupulous Don Jose de Santarem, listening also to the song of the gypsy girl, Maritana.
I hear it again. 'Tis the hope, 'tis the hope in thee. It hangs on the walls of the ordinary shores. It hangs on the walls of the ordinary shores. Though none know its minstrel or how it came there. Listen, listen, there. 'Tis the harp in the air. 'Tis the harp. 'Tis the harp in List, pilgrim, list, 'tis the harp in the air. List, pilgrim, list, 'tis the harp. List, pilgrim, list, 'tis the harp
A beautiful singer, Your Majesty.
And a beautiful girl. Beckon her over.
You girl! Girl, here! Ah, she's coming, Your Majesty.
Somebody will recognize me. Bravo, my dear. You sing as sweetly as any angel.
When did you last hear an angel sing, senor?
Never until now, alas.
Then haven't you a coin at the bottom of your purse?
A coin? Why, yes. Don Jose.
Allow me, sire. Here you are, pretty one.
Gold. Look, Dolores, look, Juan. The gentleman gave me a gold.
Isn't she wonderful, Don Jose? She has the heart of a child.
But the beauty of a woman.
If she were only mine.
She could be, sire.
If it could be managed without the Queen's knowledge.
Leave that to me, Your Majesty.
No mention of majesty here, Don Jose. But if you could help me in this matter...
I'll, see what can be arranged. Ah, she's coming over again.
Good. Come to me at the palace in an hour, Don Jose. And let me know what she says. Adios. Drive me to the palace.
Adios, Your Majesty.
Was that gentleman who gave me the gold a friend of yours, sir?
Well, more of an acquaintance, my dear. Oh, he's a very wealthy fellow. Yes, probably the richest man in Spain.
I've always fancied myself as rich. The Angelus.
Imagine a gypsy with such dreams. Still, more unlikely things have come to pass.
The Angelus. Come, let us kneel and pray.
But it is not the thought of prayer that occupies Don Jose's mind as the crowd of villagers and gypsies rise from singing the Angelus. His schemes are concerned with improving his position at court. Don Jose is in love with the Queen, but his plotting to expose to her the escapades of the faithless king is interrupted, for suddenly a disturbance arises outside the tavern, and there, haggling with the innkeeper, Don Jose recognizes a court acquaintance of former years, the dissolute Don Caesar.
So, you won't give me another drink, eh, innkeeper?
Not without the money, senor.
Ah, miserable dogs. Money causes more trouble than it's worth.
Am I mistaken? Or can it be Don Caesar de Bazan?
You're not mistaken. That's my most illustrious name.
Don't you remember me? Don Jose de Santarem.
Of course. Don Jose de Santarem. I remember you now. You just as big a scoundrel as ever?
If you weren't drunk, Don Caesar, I'd make you answer for that.
Drunk? I'm not drunk. Just happy, that's all.
It's sad to see you fall so low, Don Caesar. Your father left you a good name and a brilliant inheritance.
The name I still bear. The inheritance benefits mankind.
You had numerous followers.
I have them still.
What? Servants?
No, creditors. Wherever I go, they're sure to follow me. But I give them a merry chase. I've been running for years all over Europe.
And what happy event brought you back to Madrid?
The sweet but elusive hope that my creditors were all dead. It seems that creditors never die.
It really grieves me to see a man like you in such a case. Don Caesar, Count of Garofa.
Oh, don't feel sorry for me. I'm happy enough. Give me the latest news of Madrid. They drink as much here and fight as many duels as before?
Duels have become rare in Madrid since the edict of the king.
What edict?
All who fight with a sword shall be shot. And if the duel takes place in Holy Week, then the survivor is condemned to be hanged.
And the Holy Week commenced today?
Exactly.
I'd better keep my temper. For no matter what other disgraces I've had to submit to, I couldn't survive the disgrace of being hanged.
What's this?
What?
Those soldiers. They're chasing somebody. There, look.
Why, it's only a boy.
Oh, sir, please save me,
Save you from what?
From the soldiers. The soldiers? Some friend of yours, Caesar?
No,
They call me Lazarillo. Quickly, sir, help me. They're coming to arrest me.
Why? What crime have you committed?
No crime at all, sir, except to try to drown myself. I have a cruel master who beats me. I can't stand it any longer. I want to die.
Come, lad, don't despair. I'll look after you.
There he is. Arrest him.
Oh, save me, sir.
I'll do that, my boy. I'll defend you with my sword.
Don Caesar, remember the edict. It's the Holy Week.
Put up your sword, tipsy ragamuffin. This boy is my prisoner.
You take him over my dead body.
By what right do you interfere?
By the right of a nobleman of Spain.
You, a nobleman.
What, you rascal? You doubt me?
Doubt you?
I am Don Caesar de Bazan. Draw your sword then, soldier.
I'll soon settle your account, my friend.
On guard!
Remember the penalty, Don Caesar, for dueling.
Penalty? What of that?
You challenge me then, ragamuffin.
I challenge you. On guard!
Senor, they'll hang you.
Away, tipsy girl.
There, sir.
Ah, not yet, my fine captain. Now, captain, now where's your sword?
Don't, senor.
Soldiers, arrest him.
Oh, please. He was helping this boy.
I warned you, Don Caesar.
Away with him. Pick up my sword, fellow.
Oh, sir, it was for me.
The boy, too. Take him.
Oh, senor. Captain, have mercy. Let him go free, I beg you. Free the gallant captive free, free the gallant captive free. I tomorrow shall have gone, gladly I his ransom pay. I tomorrow shall have gone, gladly I his ransom pay, gladly I his ransom pay.
But in spite of Maritana's pleading, Don Caesar and Lazarillo are dragged off to prison, leaving the gypsy girl an easy subject for Don Jose's clever intrigue. The scene changes, and dawn, lighting up the condemned cell, falls first on Don Caesar, then on Lazarillo, slumbering, in kind oblivion of the scaffold already waiting Don Caesar. As a distant clock chimes, Don Caesar wakes and gazes affectionately at the sleeping youth.
Alas, those chimes so sweetly stealing, gently dulcet to thee, sound like pity's voice revealing to the dying death is near, and in slumber I will find peace and quiet evermore. Oh, that angels now might waft me to the mansions of the blessed. Oh, that angels angels now might waft me to the mansions of the blessed.
What time is it, sir?
5 o'clock, Lazarillo. I've still 2 hours to live. Tell me, boy, if you had 2 hours to live, how'd you employ them, eh?
Why, sir, I'd send for a priest and confess my sins.
What? Confess all my sins in 2 hours? I couldn't do it in 2 years.
Listen, the soldiers to take you to the scaffold.
Don Caesar de Bazan. No, it's you, Don Jose. You brought me a pardon.
No, Don Caesar. I've done my best for you, but the king insists that you be punished as an example to others.
One thing, Don Jose. If I must die, let me be spared the shame of the scaffold. Let me die like a soldier.
Yes, let me like a soldier fall upon some open plain, this breast expanding for the ball to blot out every stain. Brave manly hearts confirm my doom, that gentler ones may turn. Forgotten on my tomb, I like a soldier fell. Forgotten on my tomb, I like a soldier fell. I like a soldier fell. Of that proud race which ends its praise in me, to die the last and not disgrace its ancient chivalry. Though my clay no banner wave, no trumpet requiem swell, enough they murmur o'er my grave, he like a soldier fell. Enough they murmur o'er my grave, he like a soldier fell. He like a soldier fell.
All right, Don Caesar. If you prefer it, a firing squad. On one condition.
What is it?
That you marry before you die.
Marry?
The king has fallen madly in love with a gypsy girl.
Well?
If he brought such a girl to court, you can imagine the scandal. But as your widow, the Countess of Garofa, she'd be accepted without question.
And what's your interest in this, Don Jose?
If I throw the king into this gypsy's arms and then betray him to the queen...
You're a treacherous dog, Don Jose.
I want the queen, and I'll stop at nothing to get her. But why should you care? The dead have no conscience to trouble them.
By the Lord, I wouldn't want to go on living with your conscience. All right. Bring in my bride and let's get it over.
Wait. You must let me blindfold you first.
What? Am I not to be allowed even to see her?
No, nor she to see you. She shall be blindfolded also.
Oh, that makes no difference. As you will.
And now I'll go to fetch the bride.
One more request, Don Jose.
What is it?
Let me have a last drink with the firing squad whose task it will be to dispatch me.
Oh, you're a queer fellow, Don Caesar. But I'll do as you ask. I'll bring your guards here with the bride, and they can drink your health.
Drink her health, you mean? Mine isn't worth the trouble.
I'll return in a minute. They're just outside.
There's Rio.
Yes, sir.
Now listen carefully. In a moment, we are to meet the gentlemen who are going to have the happiness of shooting me.
Oh, sir, and it's all my
Never
fault.
mind about that. Point is, can you manage to take the bullets out of their guns while they're drinking with me?
I can try, sir.
Good boy. Quiet now. Tighten this scarf about my eyes. They're coming, I think. Yes.
Don Caesar, Count of Garofa, your executioners, and your bride.
Welcome to both. And a happy widowhood to my future countess. Come, fill your glasses and drink a health to the lady I cannot see, the lovely bride. May she live long and happily.
Health to the lady, the lovely bride. 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 By this hand so soft and trembling, by those locks so sunny bright, 'neath that veil, that cruel veil dissembling, youth and beauty hide the light, youth and beauty hide the light.
Like the mist upon the mountain, so this veil obscures my sight. From this bosom palpitating, closing every beam of light, closing every beam of light. On yon softly what mystery goes gaping, I must live light to light. Ah, what mystery goes gaping, I must live light to light. I must live light to light. I must wait and die tonight. I must wait and die tonight. No, he shall not die tonight. No, he shall not die tonight. Die tonight. Die tonight.
Opera for the people. The world's greatest operas, especially adapted in English for radio presentation. An all-star Australian cast of singers, choristers and actors, with the Australian Symphony Orchestra under the baton of Hector Crawford, give you Opera for the People. We present part 2 of Wallace's much-loved opera, Maritana. Maritana, an attractive gypsy girl, is greatly admired by the King of Spain. Don Jose de Santarem is an unscrupulous courtier who is madly in love with the Queen. He therefore determines to encourage the King's admiration for Maritana and then betray him to the Queen. This scheme is helped by the sudden arrival in Madrid of a former friend of Don Jose, the impetuous spendthrift Don Cesar de Bazan, who is immediately thrown into jail for dueling and sentenced to be shot. Maritana intercedes on his behalf. Don Jose, seeing a chance to further his schemes, persuades both Maritana and Don Cesar to be blindfolded and married to an unknown person. They are married, of course, to each other. But Don Cesar, in a plan to save his life, has arranged for the bullets to be removed from the guards' rifles and replaced by dummies. While Don Cesar de Bazan is being led away, apparently to his death, the treacherous Don Jose introduces Maritana, now really the Countess de Bazan, to the king, and tells her that the king is the man she has just married.
Madame la Comtesse de Bazan, I present your noble husband, Don Cesar de Bazan.
My husband. You.
This is a happy moment for me, sweet Maritana.
But I didn't know. I thought...
That Don Cesar was dead? Oh, I'm happy to tell you that he was pardoned at the last moment.
Pardoned? By the king?
Oh, yes, of course. By the king.
Oh, the king thinks a good deal of me. In fact, he'd do almost anything to help me. Isn't it so, Don Jose?
It is indeed, Don Cesar.
But the man I married when I was blindfolded, his voice sounded light and gay.
Never mind the voice. I'm your husband, Maritana, and you're my lovely bride.
Your bride?
Yes, mine. Mine alone.
Hear me, gentle Maritana, by the magic of thy beauty, hear me swear to fair Gitana, this fond heart beats but for thee. Captive 'neath thy chains delighted, though its doom be dark and heavy, by a smile of thine delighted, would not if it could be free. By a smile of thine delighted, would not if it could be free.
Sire, it may be best to retire now before you're seen with this girl.
Yes. You'll bring her to my private apartments, Don Jose?
In an hour's time, Your Majesty.
Very well.
Am I free now, Don Jose?
Free? Oh, for an hour, perhaps, Maritana. But then you must go to your husband.
To my husband? But you promised me that this blindfolded marriage ceremony would only be a matter of form.
But I didn't know then that Don Cesar would be pardoned. Oh, come, little gypsy girl. You'll be happy enough. Go and take part in the festivities and make the most of your new life. I'll join you very soon.
I'll go, Don Jose. But I've no heart for any frivolity. I hate my new life. I hate it.
Longing for the old life already, is she? Thinking of the past. Oh, well, life's like that. The future quickly becomes the present, and the present soon slips back into the past.
In happy moments day by day, the sands of life may pass in swift but tranquil tide away from time's unerring glass. Yet hopes we used as bright to deem, remembrance will recall, whose pure and whose unfading beam is dearer than them all, whose pure and whose unfading beam is dearer than them all. Anxious eyes upon us gaze, and hearts with fondness beat, who smile upon each feature plays, with truthfulness replete. Some thoughts none other can replace, remembrance will recall, which in the flight of his we trace, is dearer than them all, which in the flight of his we trace, is dearer than them
Don Jose.
Who's that?
Don Caesar de Bazan.
Don Caesar? Alive?
Yes. Some benevolent fairy changed the bullets in the guns of the firing squad. Not wishing to disappoint my executioners, I fell, pretending to be shot. They walked away, then I got up and did the same.
And what do you want here?
I've come to claim my wife, Don Jose.
Your wife? Oh, well, wait here. I'll bring her to you.
Is she very beautiful?
Oh, you shall see.
There's some trickery going on here. Well, even if I don't find her, I still have the memory of our brief meeting.
There is a flower that bloometh when autumn leaves are shed. With the silent moon it weepeth, the spring and summer fled. The early frost red perfume o'er us, which few can e'er forget. Of the bright scenes gone before us, of sweet though sad regret, let no heart brave it forward by guilty thoughts o'ercast, for then a poisoned flower is the memory of the past, for then a poisoned flower is the memory of the
But Don Caesar's vision of the beautiful girl he married is quickly shattered. For Don Jose returns not with Maritana, Don Caesar's real bride, but with a most bedraggled old woman.
Now, remember, woman, you're his wife.
But my husband's been dead for 30 years, Don Jose.
Never mind about that. Just say you're his wife, and you'll be well rewarded.
Don Jose, did you find her?
Yes, Don Caesar. And I brought her straight to you. Here she is.
That's the woman I married? Are you my wife?
Yes, Don Caesar. Remember, we were both blindfolded.
Oh, take her away. Take her away.
Off you go, my good woman, that's all.
I'll go, but I'm your wife. I'm your wife.
Did I really marry that ruin?
You heard her say so.
Why didn't I let them shoot me?
You're not impressed by your bride?
Impressed? Why, even the most ardent lover would prefer solitude to being coupled to that precious piece of antiquity.
Then you renounce her?
Can you ask?
Don't be too hasty. Your wife is a very rich woman.
She is?
Very rich indeed, in spite of her old rags. Now, be advised by a friend. Sign a contract to quit Madrid forever, and I'll see that you get an annual remittance of 5,000 piastres.
Pen, paper, and ink. Give them to me.
They're here, on this table. Are you ready?
You've only to dictate.
Write this, then. I, Don Caesar de Bazan, Count of Garofa, agree to quit the Countess, my wife.
Agree to quit the Countess, my wife.
And leave Madrid forever on payment of...
Wait.
What is it?
That voice.
Oh, just one of the court singers. Come, Don Caesar, write the contract and get it over.
Wait, Don Jose. Let me listen.
The contract, Don Caesar. Here, take up your pen again and sign.
No. Listen. That voice, I'm sure of it. It's the girl I married. Don Jose, I'm positive.
Words cannot scatter the thoughts we fear, for though they flame heart is lost.
Well, Don Caesar, are you satisfied with our bargain?
Satisfied. Satisfied that you tricked me, Don Jose. That singer. She has the voice of the woman I married. I'm going in there to find her.
Stand back, Don Caesar.
What, you draw your sword against me, Don Jose? Then I must teach you a lesson, too.
Guards! Arrest this man!
What crime have I committed?
You escaped justice once, Don Caesar, but not this time. Take him away, men!
No, no.
Maritana!
This is the man I married.
Yes, it's true, Don Jose. It must be true.
I am thy husband, Don Caesar de Bazan. My husband, thy husband, yes, I am the man. Yes, my husband, nevermore to part. Thine forever is this faithful heart. Thine forever is this faithful heart. I'll live forever in this faithful heart. Yes, my husband, nevermore to part. Yes, thine forever is this faithful heart. Live forever in this faithful heart. Live forever is this faithful heart.
My wife.
My husband.
Yes, yes. Oh, joy, 'tis he. My husband. My husband. This heart with joy overflowing, like nectar, like nectar sparkling wine, in sun with praise the glowing, satisfied. My rest divine, my rest divine, my rest divine, my
You're both mad. You were never married to each other, I tell you. Guards, take Don Caesar away.
I appeal to the king.
The king?
Your Majesty.
But that gentleman, he isn't the king. He called himself Don Caesar de Bazan.
Ah, no. I am Don Caesar.
I only spoke in jest. Eh, Don Jose?
Of course, Your Majesty.
But Your Majesty doesn't know the cream of the jest. That Don Jose intended to give Maritana to you, and then betray you to the queen.
What's this you say, Don Caesar?
Yes, Your Majesty. Don Jose loves your wife.
You lie.
Look at Don Jose and myself, sire, and judge which is telling the truth.
Don Jose, you have 24 hours to quit Spain. As for you, Don Caesar, I appoint you governor of Granada.
Valencia is also vacant, sire.
You prefer Valencia?
Valencia is 100 leagues from Madrid, sire, and therefore beyond the reach of my creditors.
Well, then I appoint you governor of Valencia.
And Maritana, my gypsy bride, shall govern the governor.
May thy fame be bright in glory.
And so ends Maritana, an opera by W. Vincent Wallace, and a presentation in this distinguished series, Opera for the People. The performance of Wallace's Maritana was by an all-star Australian cast. The narration was by Eric Pearce, the script by John Reed. The role of Don Caesar was spoken by Keith Eden and sung by John Lanigan. The King was spoken by George Randall and sung by David Allen. Don Jose was spoken by Douglas Kelly and sung by Maurice Williams. The role of Maritana was spoken by Mary Ward and sung by Glenda Raymond. The production was by Dorothy Crawford. The Australian Symphony Orchestra and the Westminster Singers were conducted by Hector Crawford, director of this program, Opera for the People.